there will be another boxing megastar, and so happenly, if they around the same weight, is going to
stop it on the feet.
You and Conor. You and Conor. What you thinking? You and Conor. That's the same weight.
Don't kick me, man.
2-fight deal, MMA first, boxing second. I said, I know you have an extensive background and balls the size of a Bengali tiger. They're asking for a fight. It's going to be hundreds of millions on the line.
Hundreds of millions, dude? You can't risk. Like, get your ass whooped, man. Like, he actually has a wrestling background as well. They're that terrified of MMA. Hundreds of millions. Come on, man. That's genuinely ego. Yeah, he just doesn't want the image of him out there of getting his ass whooped and showing how frail he is.
Second undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only one champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff.
You hear that? You hear that?
Which do you think means
All
the
of
most?
It. All of it. It all goes hand in hand.
Don't kick me! That's what Terence Crawford joked when the idea of fighting Conor McGregor came up. But behind that light remark is one of the wildest stories in combat sports right now. A potential UFC White House showdown between 2 of the biggest names in fighting.
Do you think there'll ever be another huge UFC crossover boxing like McGregor-Mayweather?
Yeah, for sure. There will be another UFC megastar. There will be another boxing megastar.
Crawford, fresh off the biggest win of his career, is now standing at a crossroads. With limited opponents left in boxing, the crossover doors to MMA and high-stakes super fights are wide open.
And so happenly, if they around the same weight, is going to happen.
Y si es contra alguien como Crawford, mucho mejor. Primero,
when the right time is right.
For a long time, whispers of a boxing and MMA crossover between Crawford and McGregor have been floating around. It felt like fancy talk at first, but the recent developments have made it sound more real than ever. On the Pound for Pound podcast hosted by Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo, Crawford opened up about the possibility. While weight classes usually dominate the discussion about who Crawford should face next, Kamaru suggested that McGregor is actually in the same ballpark weight-wise. Crawford's response caught fans' attention, showing that he doesn't dismiss the idea, even if he addressed it in a light, joking way.
You wrestled
right
growing up. You get big bags where you at now, but you one of the few. I think you could sprawl and brawl. You decide you want to slide through and just you decide you want to slide through and
trying to throw elbows, trying to throw knees.
No, I'm not trying to
the right fight.
Stop it on the feet.
You and Conor. You and Conor. What you thinking? You and Conor. That's the same weight.
Don't kick me, man.
Conor
kick me, Conor.
Conor do kick.
This fight hype isn't new. Conor McGregor himself has spoken in the past about a possible 2-fight deal with Crawford. He even recalled having direct conversations with him, claiming Crawford's response was respectful but open. And here's the surprising part, McGregor didn't just talk business, he praised Crawford. He called him a Bengali tiger, admiring his skills not only in boxing but in wrestling as well. Coming from one of MMA's biggest personalities, that kind of respect shows how seriously McGregor takes Crawford as a competitor.
Crawford is very slick. He also has a wrestling pedigree. So we're talking back and forth. It's like a 2-fight deal. Like Crawford, they're talking to me here about you and me. A 2-fight deal, MMA first, boxing second. I said, I know you have an extensive background and balls the size of a Bengali tiger. They're asking for a fight. It's going to be hundreds of millions on the line. What's up? And he goes, I don't want to take a kick, or I don't fancy taking a kick off Conor McGregor, he said. I don't know what's happening. There's loads of things on the table. Very exciting announcements are coming from McGregor Sports and Entertainment and Riyadh season. Very, very huge.
But it's not just admiration going both ways. Crawford also revealed more details in a separate conversation with Bernie the Boxer, one of his closest team members. In that chat, Bernie asked directly about a possible fight with McGregor. To the shock of many, Crawford admitted that he has actually been approached with an offer to fight Conor, and the offer came from none other than Turki Al-Sheikh, the influential Saudi advisor behind some of boxing's biggest recent events. Crawford didn't treat it with hostility though, instead he laughed it off, speaking about it casually and showing once again that his respect for McGregor goes hand in hand with his playful humor.
I heard that Turkey offered you a 2-fight deal to fight Conor McGregor, one in the ring and one in the octagon. Is that true? Is that true, bud? Is that true, bud?
Man, listen, man. Hey.
You gonna fight Conor McGregor, dude?
I told Conor.
In the ring, in the octagon, bud?
I told Conor to himself.
You'll beat his ass?
I said, hell no.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, me and Conor, they called me. You know what I mean? They called me and they offered me to fight. And I me and Conor got on the phone and we started politicking and, you know, trying to figure something out, and I just told him.
So, what does Crawford really think about stepping into the octagon with Conor? Truthfully, he doesn't see himself walking into the UFC cage. At least not in a serious way, but he did leave the door cracked open with his funny remark about not wanting to be kicked. That tells fans that while he might not be pursuing it, the fight is still something he's willing to entertain, if the money and circumstances are right.
Did you see Bud Crawford got offered McGregor for an MMA and boxing match? I did see that, and he turned it down because he didn't want to get leg kicked. I'm so glad that story came out, though. Shout out to fucking McGregor for pulling that off for MMA. Right? Fucking great, dude. That is such a good story for MMA.
So, I told Conor
in the octagon, but
Crawford, they're talking to me here about you and me. A 2-fight deal, MMA first, boxing second.
Is that true, bud?
I said, I know you have an extensive background and balls the size of a Bengali tiger.
they offered me to fight, and I said, hell no.
Crawford and McGregor revealed that Turki Al-Sheikh had offered them a 2-fight agreement, with one boxing, the other in MMA. McGregor said they would have been paid hundreds of millions. And then Crawford turned it down and said boxing superstar Terence Crawford said he rejected a deal to fight UFC great Conor McGregor because he didn't want to participate in a mixed martial arts fight.
One thing is clear, Crawford respects McGregor and McGregor respects Crawford. Unlike many fight build-ups that thrive in trash talk and drama, this matchup feels different. Both men have admiration for each other's achievements. That doesn't mean the UFC wouldn't jump at the chance of make it happen though. For them it's the kind of crossover spectacle that could break records, and even without bad blood, fans would tune in for the sheer spectacle of it all.
Man, I'm not getting in no octagon with you so you can be kicking me and elbowing me and shit. And so he get to laughing and shit. He like, man, I respect that.
Yeah.
It was like, man, because you respect my sport just like I respect your sport.
But here's the problem, Crawford finds himself in a tricky situation. After the biggest win of his life, the list of viable boxing opponents has started shrinking. If Canelo doesn't agree to a rematch, Crawford might be forced to think outside the box to keep the momentum going and land another mega payday.
Tonight that he says he thinks he should and will retire from the sport, but I don't know who else is out there for Crawford. I mean, he's only going to want to fight for 20, 30, 40 million. But who is there to fight for that kind of money? I'm not sure, you know.
The rematch, you think the rematch would be of interest?
I don't think Canelo will want a rematch. Yeah. I think there's a rematch clause, I don't know.
There's not. Yeah.
So, you know, it's very unusual for Canelo to go into a fight without a rematch clause.
Yeah.
But for me, I just can't see Canelo going, yes, I want to run that back.
So, what options are on the table? Experts believe there are 3 names that could deliver blockbuster numbers. The first path leads to Back to Boxing, where Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben are generating a lot of buzz. Their fight earlier this year sold over 1 million pay-per-views, and a rematch is already locked in for November. Whoever wins that fight would be in a prime position to call out Crawford. A clash with either man could bring huge numbers, and Crawford might be tempted to test himself against one of Britain's biggest draws.
I know he wants to fight in the UK. It's a huge market. There's not many other guys there that people would like to see fight more.
The second option comes from MMA, UFC lightweight champion Ilia Topuria. The Spanish star has been on fire lately, and he has made it clear he wants a piece of Crawford. He even went as far as sending threats on social media, which escalated their feud in the eyes of fans. Topuria's popularity is skyrocketing, and a fight with Crawford could bring Mayweather versus McGregor type hype all over again.
If I don't like somebody, if I want to fight them for whatever reason, I would have been like, hey, what's up, man? What you think about me and you fighting? I'm not going to go hide behind the keyboard and then be like, oh, I knocked this dude out, this and that and this. I think that's fake. I definitely think he's trying to clout chase. He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor, let's be real.
There's one big hurdle though, Dana White. The UFC CEO has often said he doesn't like his fighters crossing into boxing. But now that he's stepping into the world of boxing promotion himself, the idea doesn't seem as far-fetched as it once was. If Topuria keeps rising and Crawford keeps looking for mega fights, this could turn into a real possibility.
Terence used to wrestle. According to the fellow boxer, is the only boxer that could go over to MMA and they would expect him to win. I'm not ready to tell you that Ilya could get this fight. I do not imagine at all Dana would entertain this idea, but Dana White did not entertain Conor versus Floyd until he did. That was very unique, and it wasn't the UFC champion against the guy that was going for 50-0. It was the greatest mouthpiece in MMA with the greatest mouthpiece in boxing. That is what got that fight to happen. Ilya's not there, but he's on the cusp. Ilya is not Conor McGregor, but he's on the cusp. I could see him becoming that kind of a star.
Still, Crawford himself doesn't seem very interested in Topuria. After his win against Canelo, Crawford was asked about the UFC champ, and his response was brutal. He claimed he didn't even know who Topuria was. Crawford admitted he hadn't seen him fight, even though he watches a lot of MMA. He even joked about meeting him once and not recognizing him until later, and in Crawford's eyes, Topuria isn't anywhere near McGregor's level. To him, the comparison is laughable, and he made that clear by saying it's night and day when you measure Topuria against Conor.
Floyd made a lot, obviously, to fight Conor.
He's not nowhere near on the level of Conor McGregor. Let's be real. Stop it. Don't ever compare him to Conor. Conor was here. He's here. Like I said, I don't know this guy. I never seen this guy fight. And I watch a lot of MMA, you know what I mean? Maybe, you know what I mean? I'm slipping. Maybe he's a good fighter, you know what I mean? I don't know. But I honestly never seen this guy fight, for sure. I've seen Conor McGregor fight a lot of times. It's night and day. You know it's night and day. Don't ever try to say they on the same level. What we talking about? What we talking about? We not talking about that. Tell that guy to, you know, keep up the good work in his career.
That doesn't mean the fans won't keep pushing for it. A crossover fight like this still has the potential to do crazy numbers. But as Crawford put it bluntly, what's the money? If it doesn't generate the kind of financial reward Mayweather got against McGregor, then why bother?
You have interest in fighting him.
For what?
Money.
What money would I get out of fighting him? Tell me how much I'm gonna get out of fighting him.
While Topuria might not be on Crawford's radar, another name keeps sneaking into the conversation. Jake Paul. Love him or hate him, Jake is one of the biggest draws in boxing right now. His Netflix fight against a 58-year-old Mike Tyson drew 65 million viewers. That's an insane number, and now he's gearing up to fight Gervonta Davis in November. If Jake somehow gets through that fight, you can bet he'll be screaming Crawford's name next.
Jake can punch with that right hand. Like, I seen him, you know what I mean, up close in person. Like, dude is big. He's not as slow as people think he is, and he can punch. You know, that's why a lot of people know, like, there was times where, you know, him and Tyson was in the ring and he could have, like, laid it on Tyson, but
the idea of Crawford versus Jake Paul might make hardcore fans roll their eyes, but from a business perspective, it makes a lot of sense. Jake brings the eyeballs, the hype, and the casual fans who tune in just to see if he'll finally lose. For Crawford, it could be a relatively easy payday compared to facing elite-level boxers or dangerous MMA champions.
Terence Crawford, you just made my list.
Would you fight Jake Paul?
Nah.
Come on now, bro. All these pound-for-pound fighters are too scared to fight me. They need 200 million to do it.
I got 200 million for you.
I'm fighting Jake Paul.
And Shannon Sharp, you can get it too. No choking though.
At the end of the day, Terence Crawford is a man at the top of his game, standing on the edge of what could be the most unpredictable chapter of his career. He's got the respect of Conor McGregor, the interest of Turki Al Sheikh, the attention of Jake Paul, and the challenge of Ilia Topuria.
I want to ask you a little bit about the history that you made tonight, and I want your opinion on which means the most to you. You became a 5-division world champion. You became the 3rd of 4-division lineal champion with Mayweather and Pacquiao. You became a 3-time undisputed champion, the first ever in the 2, 3, or 4 belt era. And you became the 2nd undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only one champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff.
You hear that? You hear that?
Which do you think means
all
the most?
And all of it. It all goes hand in hand.
Whether he steps into the ring, the octagon, or even entertains another wild crossover, one thing is certain: the fight world can't take its eyes off it.
Can you describe what it all means to you to have? You just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight.
It means a lot to me because, you know,
Anybody can be a nobody, like I said, you know, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now? Somebody tell me, what can you say now?
You can say congratulations.
That's it. What can you say? Any words?
Thanks.
So maybe that "don't kick me" line wasn't just a joke, maybe it was a teaser. But if Crawford and McGregor do ever meet, whether in the ring or the cage, it won't just be a fight, it'll be a global event. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on all the latest drama, predictions, and fight news, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and join the conversation in the comments. Ring Rivalry is your ringside seat to every rivalry that matters. So, don't miss the next round.